Welcome to Positive Filter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career with a little self-help around the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope that what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. Now it's recording. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Philip Wilkerson, a.k.a. the Prince of Positivity, a.k.a. I'm washed, a.k.a. I got Austin tattooed on my leg, a.k.a. I'm too old to be acting like this. And I'm joined by a very special guest. Everyone's a special guest, but I'm joined by my, he doesn't know it, but adopted mentee, whatever. I adopted him, signing the paperwork right now for mentorship.
Yes, sir.
And he's a special guest. Everyone's a special guest, but he has some great insight, and I definitely wanted to bring him on the podcast because this young man is doing really big things on the college campus. And also just, me, I just got to have people that are around me on my podcast. But for the listeners, please introduce yourself, Brother Chris.
Thank you so much for having me, Phil. For everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Chris Donald, a.k.a. Coach Chris, a.k.a. I'm kind of extra sometimes. I am the quad of Fall 19, a.k.a. Inferno, here of the Iota Alpha chapter of Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So,
oh man, you did a whole spill, and I think you actually prepared yourself. That was like the first time someone actually took some good notes. I think that was a really good AKA.
Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you.
AKA, you look like my son. How many years old? Like 5 years? No, 10, 20 years from now. Whatever.
No, and I appreciate your mentorship, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we did a quick introduction, but I want to just, if you want to do a snapshot or wherever you want to go, to this actual point right now in this moment of time, how do we get connected?
How do we get connected in what regard?
Like now we're both in Alpha. So first of all, and now we're friends. So from how did this journey start for you to now be in my life and now on this podcast? That was a random ass question, but I just felt like, how about your college trajectory to this moment right now? How did this happen?
So my college trajectory, so obviously I'm a junior here at Mason. Yeah. I'm actually a transfer student. I came here to Mason last spring. Mm-hmm. So this is only my third semester. I did everything in my power to get involved as possible so I can have the best opportunity here. Because community college is either positive or negative. You're either gonna have a great experience or the worst experience. You're gonna want to stay home. You're gonna say this, that, and third about how terrible it is. But in the end, it is what you make it. So I did everything in my power to get out of there and get out of that mindset and come here to Mason. So when I crossed the sands in Fall 19, I met a lot of amazing people. I was shaking hands with brothers all over the place, from Virginia to Cali to Texas.
Yes.
Even Maine, man.
Oh, you met a brother from Maine?
Yeah.
Was he black?
I don't know. He was waving for me in the car. And he was like, yo, bro, what's up? And I was like, yo. He saw my license plate. He was like, I'm from Maine. I don't remember what chapter he was from, but he was a cool dude.
There's a black dude in Maine.
Hey, man, you said it, not me.
Okay. So I'm going to have to look him up because my mother-in-law is from Maine, and she's still has not taken me to Maine. So if I ever go up to Maine, I'm going to look for this random brother that...
For all my Maine people who listen to this, what's up in Maine? What is there?
I don't know.
Besides fish, y'all got some good fish.
Yeah. So now you and that, I knew I threw a big question and it was a whole thing, but one of the things that stuck up, and we can kind of go, and this is how I pivot, is that you said that you went to community college first. Mm-hmm. Now, knowing you as a bright young man that you are, it's always the assumption that people go to community college if they're not academically good or whatever. Or I've learned a lot of people went to community college because they need to save a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. What was some of the rationales that you went to community college?
So my community college journey was actually it wasn't my choice. I went through some hardships my senior year, personal, familial, you name it. And so I ended up reluctantly going to Nova.
Okay.
I had dreams of going to Villanova in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to places in North Carolina like Wake Forest, even UC Santa Barbara. So I was looking at colleges all over the country, and even internationally, like in Japan, like at Akita University. when I came to Nova, it wasn't my dream.
Yes.
And my grades showed that my first semester.
Yeah.
And I actually did very, very poorly. And I think I had a 1.9 GPA.
Yeah.
But in high school, I had like a 3.8. And,
that's what I'm saying.
Everyone was like, yo, Chris, you can do all these amazing things.
Yes.
And I was like, thank you. And I was all gassed up. And then all of a sudden I hit, in my personal opinion, is rock bottom. Because everyone was like, yeah, you go to community college, bro, you're not going nowhere. Like, you're probably just going to drop out. You're going to say, oh, work's more important. Or drop out for a year and come back and then never come back, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a big fear of not only people around me, but of myself, of where I was going to go.
So, and I mean, that's what, I mean, I knew this, like, and I'm saying I knew this, we talked briefly about it, but I knew this because when I met you, it was already like, you're a rock star student. And so I was curious, like, that journey, like, and you told, briefly understanding that you were doing big things at Herndon. And that's kind of where this, the subject of where I thought about you being a, mentor and, being mentored and that, but that trajectory of where I know that, and as much as you want to share with the podcast, I bet for someone that is a high achieving person, such as I'm high achieving, right? But when you're faced with a lot of adversity and then people don't know the adversity you're facing, it could be extra. If that makes sense, like if you already have a standard of excellence and then people look at you, as you said, and say, hey, man, you got that 3.8. What you doing at Nova? It could exacerbate, like, I'm not allowed to have difficulty like everyone else, which is not fair to yourself, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
So what were some of the things when you were in that bottom place with the 1.9 GPA, what sparked it to say, yo, I need to get back. I need to bounce back. What was that bounce back like?
You're going to laugh at me for saying this, but it was actually Alpha.
The Alpha at Nova.
At Mason. At Mason. So
that bounced you back to
this kind of leads into our mentor mentee kind of conversation today. Is I was mentored by an Alpha throughout high school. For 2.5 years. And I took a lot of the lessons and idealism of that image that he was, and I put it towards who I wanted to be.
Gotcha.
So when I hit that low, I don't know if it was like a spiritual kind of awakening or if it was kind of like a just like a social kind of like, dang, man, you kind of suck right now. So I kind of wanted to pick myself up by my own 2 feet and decided to do everything I could so I could be in his shoes. So
and so speaking, we know who is this brother.
This is brother Gary Bushrod.
Yes.
So he was the coach of the Herndon High School step team, national champion of 2011, 2013 U Step USA. I was actually part of that 2013 team. I stepped with him for 4 years. I was his co-captain and captain. So he and I worked very closely together.
So you saw, so you're at Nova and you're like, man, Gary is who kind of cool. I like what he does. And so did you kind of like say, okay, to get to Gary's, did you kind of like make a plan, like I need to get into a 4-year college? Like how did that, you're right, I mean, but how did you flip that and say, yo, start getting driven about it?
So I actually thought about, not even a lesson from Gary, but one of my captains that I used to work with. I hope she listened to this. Her name is Samaya. And Samaya, she said to me, it is what you make it. And I said that earlier in this podcast, and that's something that has stuck with me to every single day. I don't even think she knows that it stuck with me to this day. But it is what you make it. Let me elaborate on that.
Yes.
So when I kind of came to that consensus, I said, okay, these are the classes I'm taking. I can handle this. Okay, I got my academics straight. All right, let me look at my financials. What job am I working? Is this paying the bills? Am I able to have some financial spending? What if I have a girl at the time? Am I able to spend for her? Because that costs something. And then not only financially, I was also looking at it, how to say, futuristically, because I'm also looking at my academics. I want to go to grad school. I want to study abroad. I want to save up. I might want to save up a house. I pay car payments, pay phone bills. So you also got all these these bills you gotta pay my automobile.
Yeah, yes, everything.
No.
Life ain't cheap.
Life ain't cheap, and Alf ain't cheap either. So
Yes.
that was another thing I had to save up for.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that in mind, I pushed into orgs. So I started working with AAU at Nova. Shout out to my club over there.
AAU, okay.
Yeah. I worked with one of my friends, and we started to found a little club. It's called Foster Care and Mentorship. We didn't get too far, but it was definitely off the ground. I can say I was one of her co-founders and PR managers.
Yeah.
After there, I got my grades together.
Okay.
Was working in the clubs. Transferred out. God bless the Lord for accepting me. And I got a bunch of transfer credits, even though I took 2.5 years at Nova in summer classes, trying to get my act together.
Yeah.
I pulled it through with a 3.2. I took a lot of
the so you turned the 1.9 to a 3.2.
Awesome. I switched my major a couple of times. Some of the classes were lost. I think I took maybe 70 some courses and maybe got 50 credits to come here in Mason.
I got you saying, because some of them were redone over again, and some of them were just
some were redone. Some of them were lost because it didn't even apply to me.
Yeah, it didn't apply to the
calculus class. Like, I don't even need to take a calculus class. I had to take maybe algebra.
Yes,
I didn't get credit for calculus, but I got credit for algebra, so I was cruising.
So I love this because, first of all, we share that journey too, that we use some other place to bounce back. I shared with you that I didn't get into JMU like I wanted to. And then, by the grace of God, I met my girlfriend / wife. She put my life together, a.k.a. a lot of people say I transferred to JMU for her, but, I also got waitlisted. So I used that as fuel. I was so mad. I was like, man. So when I was at Bowie State, I got Dean's List. I think petty and comebacks are like the best fuel for me. I don't know if that counts for you, but I was like, I'm going to show them this imaginary them, and I got my grades up. But while I was doing that, one of the things I did notice, and I think there's a difference between you and me, is that when I finally made it to the mecca of JMU, that was it. And then I stopped. I didn't have nothing like I was aiming for. I
could build on that, actually.
No, I didn't. I was like, I made it to JMU. This is cool. I'm gonna just drink a lot, and I didn't that was it. And the difference I think I've noticed with you is that you're like, okay, I made it to Mason, but then you still did more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you set new goals.
I'm so glad you asked about this, because this builds on that first part of the story I was telling you about.
Yeah.
So when I got that acceptance letter from Mason, and I was like, all right, this is the turning point. I made a promise to myself. And I still keep it to this day. I said, when you get to Mason, do everything in your power to become as successful as you can. So if that means being as social and as happy, because some people be like, Chris, why are you so happy? Why are you so loud? Why are you so this, that?
You made it because you made it to Mason.
No, it's because I'm putting my full energy in the community. I'm putting my full energy in growth. I'm putting my full energy in the people. Whether if that's the students I work with, whether if that's the people I'm in the orgs with, or just someone I just met off the street.
I got you. I feel that.
I say there's no such thing as a stranger. It's just a friend who hasn't met yet. So if I see someone I'm like, whether it's someone who looks like me or someone that doesn't look like me, I'm gonna shake your hand. I'm gonna say, or not right now because coronavirus.
No,
but I'm gonna shake your hand, dap you up, and say, hey, my name is Chris. It is a pleasure to meet you. Tell me more about yourself, because I like to hear people's stories. I like to interact, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you become a better you.
Yeah, I get that. And also, and as like I said, you're like, it's almost like you're grateful that you made it to this point, and then what's next?
I'm grateful.
Because you're not settling.
I'm not settling. There's no settling. This bell curve has just begun.
I don't know. You gotta tell me that, dude, because I need. Well, first of all, I'm not settling either. I got this new fire, but so you got here. You got to Mason, and I just kind of do tell. What does mentorship mean to you? Because you said mentor, you had a legit person, and Gary as a mentor. But what does that look like? And difference, I guess. If there is a difference for you, what's the difference between a coach just being like, hey, this guy's just my step coach, and that's a role because he's teaching to be a coach, or this guy's my step coach and mentor, if there is a difference? What do you think?
When it comes to mentorship, and when you're just around other people who may be under you side by side, or someone who looks up to you, they're going to, I don't want to say subconsciously become like you or learn from you, and they're going to pick up from your tendencies. So when I look at mentorship, I think that the people that you're working with are going to end up looking like you. So it is an idealistic kind of idol kind of figure that someone's going to end up being molded into. So when I work with my kids, I want to show them how I would want them to be when they're in college. So I show them experiences. We pulled them here to Mason and introduced them to the MPHC. Everyone was like, "Yo, they won!"
Yeah,
so,
they did this. His team came here and did the step show, and probably did way better.
They're monsters. Hashtag shout out to Shades of You at HHS Step Team on Instagram, Twitter.
Man, he's doing his plug now. We're gonna plug it again, but yeah, we're gonna definitely.
We're gonna plug it again, but
so what I'm hearing is that okay, like. A coach is someone that just tells you to do something and you coach, but a mentor is more like a molding, more like a molding of extra. Like what I'm hearing is that you try to transfer more like what they want to be like, besides just stepping on a stage. If that makes sense, like you don't want them just like coaching. You coach them how to be good steppers. Mentor, you try to teach them how to be good people. Is that I don't know? If that's a good difference.
No, and it's. Yes, I try to turn them into monsters on stage, but we also take measures into academics. If you're not making a certain GPA on the team, you can't. Why would do all the extracurriculars if you're not getting your curriculars? So people who have D's and F's, we might have a serious conversation when you say you can't do this right now. You know, and there's also that aspect of socially. You know, if I say something and they think it's cool, they might end up saying that the next week. You know, and so I have to be really vigilant and I don't know how to say it, like very careful on what I say, because I know that that's what's gonna mold. Yeah, molding. That's what's gonna mold and who they become. You know, so with that, and we said once when you said you molded, when you looked up, obviously I read a book by Tim Ferriss called Tribe of Mentors. I take mentorship very seriously. I adopt a lot of people. You know, I stick on people as you know, Jermaine and all them. But at the same time, you know, I'm only telling you, you know, I'm the middle person. I call myself the middle child, like J. Cole, because not only do I try to mold you guys, you know what I'm saying, but also, you know, I'm not going front. Like I have people that I've looked up to, so I'm in the middle. I got my people, so I have mentors as well. And some of the things I think you said is that molding, but it's what I look at qualities of why I want that person. Like one, I was like, what I want to mold to someone below me, but at the same time, why am I even looking up to this person? So usually what I do is like I look up for someone that's like one step above me in career trajectory. So wow, that person is a dean. I'm just gonna say a dean. So what do they do to get there? I'm asking questions and then ask them that, or what do they do every day? And similar, like okay, they know how to write better emails. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. So I look at that, and then what I do is I can say, okay, now that I learned that from my mentor, I pass that down. So it's almost like I'm a funnel. I'm like, hey, this guy above me does this. Let me tell the guy below me, quote, so he does this. But what are some qualities that you look for in a mentor? What I look for qualities that I look for in a mentor can be open. I'm not stuck on one kind of personality type or one kind of person that'll be perfect for me, whether if that is you're an INTJ, whatever it is. It doesn't matter about all of that. It's because when I look at interactions with other people, I think that everyone is made to teach you a lesson, you know. I always say that there are no accidents and everything happens for a reason, whether if that's faith or fate. I just know that the things that I see in a mentor are coming to me for a certain reation, whether if that is a short-term lesson or a long-term lesson. So
I don't know, because I totally like that too. The two, short-term and long-term. Like for I definitely more in an intense period. I leaned on a certain person, like in regards to like. A promotion that's coming up, but at the same time, it's not like I just leave them forever. Like, relationships are stronger in certain periods, and then they kind of like stretch out and move different ways, but we still reconnect, or natural, the universe brings us back together. But some of the things I like that you say that it's kind of different for me is that when I look for someone to guide me or mentor, there are some qualities, but it's not qualities that are bound by identities. If that makes sense. Like, I got women, I got men, I got gay, straight. That's not the reasons. Or black, white. It's more like there's this one spark that I'm always looking for people that are growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my main.
Yeah.
I think that's my main mentor filter. Like,
it's important to be like around like-minded people.
Yeah, like so the one I'm looking for, like gay or straight, I'm like, is that person got goals? Does that person want to be somebody? Does that person like want to help people? Okay, those are the people I gravitate to.
Have you heard that conversation on OQP, Only Quality People?
No. No, I know it now.
No, so there's like this whole kind of.
No, who said that?
I don't remember, man. But I remember I was scrolling through on Facebook, and you see those videos. You're like from BuzzFeed or whatever it is. You're like, you need to practice the philosophy of only quality people. And I was sitting there, and I was like, dang, man, he's kind of speaking some truth right now. And I usually don't listen to those things, and that kind of stuck to me while I was sitting there on a Saturday morning at 11 o'clock waking up. And
first of all, why you say like the whole? I'm getting up at like 6. You just trying to be petty, man. I get.
Hey, man, it's a Saturday morning now.
I get up at 5 every day.
Hey, this coronavirus got me chilling. So, hey, shout out to you, COVID-19.
No shout out, but because this COVID is making me go crazy because I love to be around people, and this is such a challenge.
Hey, man, I like dapping people up in this whole entire elbow thing. Where's that hand sanitizer?
The grip is on a moratorium.
Yo.
Sorry.
No,
we're not dapping each other up for the rest of the year. But so let's say, okay, only quality people, and you saw that. Is that kind of now your filter?
So you can tell when someone is there to be for you and someone who is down for you and who's going to put that energy in for you. So when you're meeting people, you have to sense that energy, whether if that is through what they say or what they're showing non-verbally. Mm-hmm. For the most part, the people I meet here on Mason are people who are trying to grow just like me, and that's what I really like about Black Masons specifically. Mm-hmm. We're all trying to grow, and we all have a similar kind of identity on what we're trying to be and what we're trying to take the school, and what we're trying to take our philosophies and growth within our community. Yeah. So a quick little plug: I'm the external vice president for the Black African Heritage Caribbean Coalition.
Black.
Yeah, Black, BLACC,
yeah.
And we go by both. And also, I am the community service chair for the Black Student Alliance here on campus. So I see a lot of the internal on where we're trying to take things,
Yeah.
And so when I'm meeting these people, I'm like, this person will be a great potential member for the e-board, or I think this person would have a great voice, or so I'm always open to meeting people, because I like to meet those quality people and then grow. Whether if that is they're my mentor or I'm their mentee, it's all open.
And I mean, sometimes I would say the lines is blurred because I think we're talking about certain roles. I think the pendulum or the pendulum between mentor mentee, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's just words. We like to categorize things, but there's some times where I'm like, yo, who am I? I'm learning from y'all. Jesus, I'm learning like new things. The lines are blurred, or maybe I'm just consider myself a mentor per se because I'm older. But there's times where I've learned from younger people, so I agree with that.
But that's the beautiful thing about mentorship, is that even the mentor learns.
Of course, it's supposed to be mutual. What I learned is it's supposed to be mutual beneficial. Like when you reach out to a mentor, reach out to someone for guidance, you don't just say, hey man, I see what you're doing, can you give me advice? You're like, hey man, I see what you're doing, I really appreciate it, and if there's anything I could do to help you. And then so then most likely the guy would be like, oh, bet, like this guy wants my advice but also is open to and you help each other. Like for instance, like when I meet someone that's above me, I'm like, hey man, I love what you're doing in such and such area, how can I help you? They'll usually say something really easy like, can you continue to promote my podcast? I'm like, all right. So then, I reach out to people that have bigger audiences than me. I'm like, all right, I can do that. That's easy. I'll just share it. So definitely I learn and they learn from me and whatever. But have you ever interacted with people in this mentorship relationship and the quality people where you're like, okay, that person is not a quality? And let me rephrase it, not in a judgmental standpoint, but like more like I'm not going to exert my energy to really connect with them because they're not quote unquote only quality people, which is not the same, but only like victim mindset or not nice. my main rule for meeting new people is if they not mean, then I'm good. Like, because there's people that have been mean and I just avoid them. So have you met people that are not of, I guess, quality?
That's actually a really good question because there aren't people who are not quality. I think everybody is quality. However, there is quality in your values and where your direction is. And some people's direction is not always the same as mine. And I take that into consideration that like, oh, I may consider this person not quality. However, this person is quality. And I need to understand that. And I need to understand our differences.
Maybe they're quality for someone else.
Yes, for somebody else.
Gotcha.
And with that, like with like their differences, you have to, how do you say it? Once you accept it, you have to. I'm losing my thought, man.
Can I? Because I'm with you. Is it more like, okay, I understand this person's not for me. Doesn't mean they're bad or good. It's just not for me. So I let them stay in their lane. I stay in mine, kind of thing.
No, it's not like you stay in your lane. It's that you can categorize like this person would be good for this goal. This person would be good for this goal. So it's not like you're counting this person out, but it's like, all right, this person is not fit for what I'm looking for. Whether it's
more
like,
just find their strengths and put them in their lane.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Okay,
and that's what I'm talking about. Like understanding other persons, you got to understand that their strengths may not be what you think is a strength.
Like maybe this person is not going to be in the BSA, but this person is fluent in Japanese. Maybe I can holler at them about Japanese. Like different lanes. Like
And sometimes that may be personality. Whether if they're aggressive, you may not want that in one friend group, or if whether someone may be super shy, you may not want that in your party friend group, So it's kind of like personalities take a role into that too. Yeah. But like I said, I'm always open for meeting new people and putting these people in different kind of groups.
I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes, have you ever get bummed when you being extroverted as we're in so many different circles that like. When you're in different circles and you try to bring them together, they don't like really click. They really don't click, and then you feel bad.
Yeah, and then you're like, yeah, what's up with you? Oh, they're not feeling it.
No,
what's up with you? Oh,
I've done this multiple times where I invited people to a party and didn't realize like that maybe that wasn't their scene, and so they just kind of like sit in the corner, and then I feel bad. And
or they get really cliquey. One of the two, or like one people was sitting on one side of the cookout and the other people were sitting on the other.
But you felt bad because you're like, you're the only connector.
Yeah.
And then you're like working the room, and they like it when you're around. But I'm working on that too with my wife. She's like, literally, you can't invite everyone to the party. I was like, why not? We all love to get together. She's like, but wife is more like, you need to be more cognizant of audience. Like maybe this is not their scene, and kind of. But I was like, I don't know. I feel like that's too much social work. Like
pardon me if I'm wrong. It also depends on what beverages are being served at this event.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to get drunk. No, I don't know if you like me, but like, I don't need alcohol. I can go. Like, you literally can throw me in the most random place. I'm gonna turn up like without alcohol. Like for instance, my boy, one of my closest friends is Cambodian. My boy, shout out to Sam Nay. I've been in mad Cambodian parties. Just random black dude.
Shout out Sam.
Random black dude at the Cambodian parties. I love it. I just love being around that. But I knew that me saying, "Yo, hey Chris, you want to go to this Cambodian party?" You probably be like, "Yeah, I'm down." But I know that my other friend won't really necessarily want to go to the Cambodian party, and I got to get better at that mentally. Like, I know it's almost like the empathy part. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like that's how I was raised and all that stuff. So I'm trying to be more strategic about that too. What you're saying is finding people's strengths, but also finding people's strengths and comforts, and realizing I don't want to set them up in different comforts. I want to make sure that they thrive in their strengths and thrive in their comfort zone.
And it's also important not to count them out too.
Yeah. Yeah. True. I was kind of going with that because I think that's a great mindset. Like, not every person that you're gonna meet at Mason. Everyone at Mason has different qualities. Everyone does as a person of quality, but not necessarily do they all have to be all together. Like maybe in some organizations, they don't want to be a part of that. Doesn't mean that they're not good. Maybe they'll thrive in a different one. They'll thrive in a different interest group.
And that's the beautiful thing about college is that that's your time to really figure out what you like. So I see some freshmen who have taken like giant leaps from when they first came here, and I'm like, wow, this person could could really do something within this community. This person can really make an impact, and I see how they're changing and who they're developing into. So it's kind of cool seeing myself in these younger kids. I say younger kids because I'm 22, so I'm an old junior, and I'm looking down at these freshmen. I'm like, when I was a freshman, I wasn't learning these things. I'm like, wow, take everything I'm learning, suck it up. So when I'm looking at these people, I'm like, these are the resources that are available to you. You know, these are the things that I didn't know about. Capitalize on it. You know, become the greatest you. And this is kind of like where the mentorship kind of thing comes in. Is do what I didn't do, like, or
I'm the best
things that I did do well.
I'm the best at teaching those lessons, man. I got a lot of don't do like these.
Don't do like me, man.
Don't do like me.
So that's another big thing I take into mentorship. You know.
Yeah. When did you decide to go back and be a coach for your own high school team?
It wasn't it was my choice for the high school team.
Yeah.
Let me give you a story actually. So I was actually coaching back in 2016, 2015. And so I was...
When did you graduate high school again?
2016. So I was a junior at this time, man. So I was still in high school when I first started. So this is how it goes. So I was a captain of the high school team. I was a junior. It was the end of the year. This is when Gary had just left the team, so I had a really big part in.
So Gary was around when you were
freshman, sophomore.
Gary was around,
and then he was around intermittently that first fall semester to kind of make sure the bubble was good, you know.
Got it.
So he didn't let everything just drop.
I'm getting the timeline. Okay, got it.
So my junior year, and this is around the spring, so it's kind of more hands off. We have a new coach. We're working. We're doing things. And I get an email from one of my middle school, I would call him coaches. His name was Coach Thomas. He was a really cool dude. He always appreciated how lively I was. And so he was like, hey, I know you're on the step team. We're about to do tryouts soon. I really want to see you could come in and support these girls, teach them a couple of moves, make sure they're ready for the high school.
So a middle school guy asked you to come back and talk to the high school. Okay, a middle school. Okay.
Yeah, so a couple of my friends and I, shout out to the Cold Beast, Mansour, Taz, we went down to Herndon Middle School, and we were like, hey, hi, we're from the high school team. Eventually, some of you guys, or all of you guys, hopefully, will be here with us and can step in our shoes. And they've seen us, they know us. They're like, you're so cool. A bunch of middle school girls, like, oh, they're so cute. You know, like how middle schools be doing.
Yeah.
So
I didn't get that. I was too young.
No. It wasn't about me. It was that man Mansour, man. He gets all the girls. Shout out to you. I hope you listen to this. And we stuck there. We kept coming back, and ultimately that year the coach kind of dropped out. I don't know whether it was personal reasons or if it was the reasons against me. But word on the block is that it was kind of our involvement kind of strayed her away, and she was kind of like, if they want to do it, then go ahead, let them do it. And so Coach Thomas reached out to me. He was like, hey man, I know you're busy, I know you're in school, this, that, but I would really love if you could come out and support our team, like volunteer every Monday or so and come help. And at this time, I'd already fallen in love with these kids, man. I'm like, I love doing this. These kids, they like being around us. I like being around them. This is fun. And I was like, all right, I'll do it every Monday.
So you became the middle school coach.
It wasn't the coach. No, I was a volunteer. I was a volunteer now. So I was coming in to volunteer every Monday.
Okay, you became the Monday volunteer, but it was organized.
So this was the following year. This is my senior year now. So I start my senior year. Again, one of the captains for the high school team.
Got it.
I'm volunteering at the middle school now.
Got it. All right.
So, and at the middle school, they're like, all right, every Monday, perfect. A couple weeks pass. All right, how about every Monday and Thursday? We need a couple of days. I'm like, all right, I'll do every Thursday. And then next thing you know, they're like, well, hey, we can do it also Wednesday. I'm like, dang it, for real? So now we're doing Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And although I was in school and I could only make it Monday and Thursday, I had one of my colleagues.
Someone switched in.
I had one of my colleagues, shout out to her. She's one of my greatest mentors of all time. Her name is Kristen Kane. She's a white lady. And I think every step team needs a great white sponsor. I'm sorry. Every step team needs a great white sponsor.
You're stupid.
So she held the fort down. And
can I table, like, that's usually what happens. You know that happens, right? It's like most times you do a good job, you show intent, and then you wake up one day and then you're the alpha advisor at Mason. Key was me. I was like, I didn't ask for none of this. Like, you know, I don't seek anything, and it happens. I think that normally
you don't choose it. You don't
how did
choose
I volunteer in this? Then I'm like doing this, and I end up like similar with the NAACP.
And that's why I'm so open, is because you never know where it could lead you.
Someone needs help. And you're like, okay,
hear this.
So now you got 2 days a week.
Oh yeah, 2 days a week, but it's actually 3 days a week. I'm only coming 2 because I also got step practice on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Wow.
So I'm going step Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, soccer practice, doing this, that. I'm like, I'm going crazy.
I'm already,
you know,
I'm already overwhelmed.
So I thought it was supposed to be chill, man.
Right.
After I graduated, I get hired through Fairfax County Public Schools.
Okay.
We Coach Thomas is gone at this time. We have a different guy. He hires me. So this lady, Kristen Kane, and I, Miss Kane, and I go by the name Coach Chris. Her and I, we kind of build this team. We take it from, I want to say scratch, but we build it in image of what the high school team has been, and
Gotcha.
what greatness like the national champions like have done. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to build it in that image, and if not greater in what our preferences too. So her and I work together. We worked together for 3.5-4 years, and
it's like so 2016 to present.
And we built one monster of a team. Shout out to the Herndon Middle School step team at HMS step team.
So they step and the high school step.
Yes. So now I'm in college. I'm working with Herndon Middle School step team. I did that for about 4 years, and her and I, we took our team to nationals. We got 5th in the girls division as our magnum opus that year. Her and I, we called it. We were like, all right, we've done everything, and we can call it quits. And at the same time, they also asked me to coach the high school team, so it was an easy transition.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So like, and I was about to say, like, I think, you know, if you look at any good sports, you know, think about when you get them kids early, they kind of, like you said, well, I'm gonna see you here one day. Well, then they join the high school team, and then the high school team, boom, 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 boom. It just becomes a pipeline, not a pipeline, but it becomes a system where, like, the best. Like, let's say anything, like the schools that are really good in football, them kids already been playing together since like middle school. And then they get to the high school team and they literally like, already know how to play together. Kind of like that, right?
Yeah, and
Herndon might have that advantage because they played with, Herndon was already doing good stuff at the middle school and kind of stayed together.
And that was one of the greatest incentives for me when I chose that decision. Like, so I want to kind of backtrack to when I got that transition of when we just finished the national championship, got 5th in the girls division, and I got that job offer to coach at the high school team. It was an incentive that all of my kids, I was going to see them again. You know, all the kids that I had coached for the past 4 years, like they'll be mine again. You know, and all the connections that I made with like that, some of them since they were in 7th grade and now they're seniors. One of them was my captain when I was her middle school coach, and now she's my captain again. So
she stayed with you.
Yeah. So it's like, man, these lifelong connections. These are lifelong connections.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about mentorship is that these kids will forever be like connected to me. You know, wherever they go.
I feel that.
You know,
exactly. And like I said, they'd be forever connected to you, and at the same time, it's not like you're gonna see them, you know, every day of their life. You know, maybe you even go a couple of years not seeing them. But I always love that same feeling where someone I helped, and this is selfish, but who cares? You know, altruism is a little selfish, right? To fulfill you. I love that sense where like someone pops out of nowhere, and you're like, dang, it's like a reunion, like, oh, you grown up now. and then you see them doing well, and you're like, and then
where you been?
Where you been? And then also, I ain't gonna lie, I claim their success. You see, you doing big things because I was in that chunk. I was in your life, you know, like crazy like that. But I think that's great. I think it's kind of why, for me, I think the biggest value of why certain people stay in education is for that aspect. Because you know, I ain't getting paid no money. Like, you know,
no, I actually got a pay decrease when I went to the high school team. I was like, it's not about the money.
No, it's not.
About the kids. It's about the connection.
No.
It's about the mentorship, and it's about the growth of not only myself, but of these young individuals.
No, and the growth of them. I would also say with helping other people, when I've invested in helping other people, I've actually flipped and gotten better myself. Or, I mean, more skilled, like, because I feel like I had to step up my game to be so, for instance, all this awards that I've been getting with, you know, being
Spirit of the King,
Spirit of the King, and all this stuff. I wouldn't have got all this.
4th estate featuring. Look at this man. These are big things, man. Big things.
And the only thing I'm stunting is like, I was like, but I wouldn't have got that without the opportunity to help other people. Like if I didn't help no one, then no one would know. Like, not saying I'm doing that to help other people, but I've also had to step up my game. Like for me to organize to help young student organizations, right? Then I got to be more organized. So therefore, I had to learn more organization techniques, or for me to help people, I felt like I need to be a better public speaker.
Yeah.
So I started doing Toastmasters with this sense of I'm gonna have to have an opportunity where I have to stand up and talk in front of a lot of people. So it's like because of my want to help students, I had to be better.
You had
Like
to drive yourself.
I couldn't what kind of faculty advisor am I going to be if I can't even be organized and get my life together? Get myself together. So I literally say for me to be a good help to someone else, I need to get my stuff together.
And that's
oddly it works.
It's kind of funny because I keep saying this is so similar to me, but one of my most unrealistic goals, but kind of realistic goals that I hope I finish is I want to have a PhD by 25.
All right, go ahead.
I'm 22 right now. I hope to have a master's by 23, PhD done by 25.
We're trying to do an accelerated master's program, so 1 year. Okay.
Yep. I'm waiting on the decision right now. So fingers crossed, pinkies crossed, hair crossed, whatever it may be.
PhD by okay.
So it's one of my most unrealistic goals. But that's kind of the thing. I was like, I want to do something so amazing or something so difficult that other people are like, yo, I want to do that too.
That's it. That's what I was about to say.
I want to be just like that. How is he doing that? And I'm not. So I'm trying to be like other people in that regard, where it's like they're here. There are people who are applying for six-figure jobs, and they're fresh out of like their PhD program. They're 23. They went to Harvard. I'm trying to be like that too.
Well, I think the same thing. I would take it to the next level. Is that like, hey, I want to be so good that people will say, how can I be like you? But then I also want to be like, well, then if anyone takes the initiative or courage to say, how can I be like you? Then I'll help them.
It's like for me, it's like the Nip mindset. He made it, and he was like, all right, now let me give.
Yeah, or also, but I would also say they had to come, you had to come to me, though. I'm not going to always be on the lookout to be helping people. That sounds selfish. Like, I want to be like that, where an influencer, where someone's like, oh, I've seen you doing big things, Philip. How can you help me? And then I say, okay, thank you so much for reaching out. Now let me, because I can't, I'm going to be focused on my goals, like you said. But it will be that mindset, too, where, I'll remember what it felt like to want to do something, and okay, I remember when I was in your shoes, therefore I'll help you because I know what it felt like.
Yeah.
So do you think what it feels like, how do you kind of realize when you're being influenced by others or when you're influencing someone else?
So what do you mean?
I don't know. I randomly wrote that question, but I was thinking more like there's a time where now it dawned on me that I'm an influencer, and not the social media one,
No, but you have.
No, it didn't really dawn on me until my boss said, Phil, you gotta be more mindful of how you walk into a room. I said, for what? And then they're like, people are looking at you, and they're like, oh, and not in a paranoia way. I was like, oh, they're looking at you to as a leader. And I was like, influence. I was like, really? People look at, and then I come to find out some people ill feel ask you for advice. Then it dawned on me for the first time in a very long time that I actually have influence. As I said earlier, I didn't think I had influence until more recently when I started doing better in my job. I mean, I always had influence at home with my kids. I'm always gonna have influence, but I didn't realize that until someone said, "Hey, people are looking at you." I didn't notice it. I was just doing me. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the moment. I think, for instance, most recently when Tracy told me, my boss told me, but what about you? Has anyone ever said, hey, people are looking at you, young Chris, you need to make sure that you're doing this because people are looking at you as an example. Kind of almost like you need to, tighten up or whatever. And not tighten up, but you can't be doing X, Y, and Z like everyone else because people look, that's where it is. People say, Philip, you can't do X, Y, and Z like you thought you could because now people are looking at you as an example. I'm like, dang, for real? I mean, I knew about at home with my kids, but now people are looking at you as an example at work. People are looking at an example on campus, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess I will be more
I do have
thoughtful.
an answer to this. I think there's actually two sides to this. So there's that positional kind of where people look at you. So often in the fraternity, they're like, hey, man, there are some things you can and cannot do because people are watching. Same thing with the orgs I'm in, the BSA, BLACC. It's kind of like, because you are the image of this organization, you can't be cursing on the radio. You can't be, you know what I'm saying? There's certain kind of taboo topics or taboo actions that you shouldn't be doing, you know? And the other side of this is...
Has someone told you? Did someone, besides the fraternity, has someone ever just came up to you and said, yo, like I said, I gave a flat out example, like Tracy was like, Phil, you know, I just want to pull you aside and make sure you're cognizant of your appearance. I'm like, why? And then that was kind of it.
That was one of the things.
Kind of was like the wake up call.
That's one of the things. It's and even when you're like, this is even a business realm, is that like, I personally hold one to myself. This is the other side of the coin as well. I dress to impress. You know, I you'll never see me. I don't want to say like bummed down in sweats, but I always have an outfit on. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're an outfit person." No, I always want to make sure I'm looking presentable, because that also influences on who you're meeting, and it all ties in together. And I'm talking about the mentorship. I'm talking about the communication and how you're meeting people and making connections and all that greatness. And it's all boiling down to this, you know. So it's all boiling down to image, and that's part of the reason why I'm so bright, is that bright personality is what draws people in. They're like, oh, this person is really smiley. What's your name? Like, you know, and I'll pull people over. When I was running for Black Mason Royalty, I had a little tic-tac-toe board. I was like, tic-tac-toe. Someone play me tic-tac-toe. Come on. I'm the king of tic-tac-toe. Someone take my crown. And people were like, no way. I'll beat you. And then we would play. I was like, hey, but if I win now, you gotta vote me for homecoming king, homecoming royalty. Ultimately, I did win. It did work out, and in that I kind of learned. I was like, this is really cool, man. That's
influence.
It's influence, and it's your influence comes from your personality. So it's not only the influence of where you sit or what position you hold, but it's also on how you act around other people, on who you are and what you hold. What are your values? You know, what's salient to you. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that does. No, because that definitely answers, like, is realizing, I mean, for me, it was not necessarily did I realize my influence on campus is because of a title, because I don't have I'm not a dean, it's that personality part, but also being cognizant of it when you walk in the room. And also, like you said, that personality part is, some of the ones is it welcoming, like being smiley and doing the tic-tac-toe thing, that brings people in. So therefore you have influence. So you just got to be, but you thought about it though. You think about it.
One of the things I did hear though is you can always tell when an alpha man walks in the room, and I don't want to just like shout out to the bros, to the good bros, 06.
I want to do a survey, and when I walk in the room, I want to have like you know what I'm gonna do? We should do an informal survey, like people we don't know. We should say we walk in the room and have like all D9, and say which one by him walking in the room. What do you think he is?
No, I don't know what it is, but there's an alpha energy. So with that comes with great power. You know, is that like when you walk in, is how would you want your fraternity to look? You know, so it's like it's your personal image, but it's also who you're serving. You know, so. The fraternity is something bigger than myself, so how can I provide to it? You know, same thing when it might come to a nation. If you're like you hold public office, is how you can represent that state, that country. Shout out to 45.
We look so good in the world though, so it's all good. But I get what you're saying. Like, you know, you know, my stereotypes is we're smart, all that stuff. So. Damn, we got some really good stuff, but just kind of with time, you know, staying with time, we're going to do our episode segment called Shot for Shot. Now, I know if you haven't listened to the episode before, that means you get to ask me any random question, and I get to ask you any random question, not even related to this. Do you want to go first or I go first?
I'll go first. What's your favorite food?
Okay, can we say food? I'm going to go with the whole region of the world. I like Southeast Asian food, and not just to say sushi generically, but I do like ramen. I do like I like anything that's cooked Thai-wise with spices. I say specifically Southeast Asian and more like hot, spicy Southeast Asian. So if it's ramen, I want spicy ramen. If it's sushi, I want like spicy stuff. If it's hot pot, I want that.
You're going to get heartburn. Be careful now.
Yeah, of course. All that stuff. Like my guts is all jacked up, but it has to be spicy.
You get the bubble guts.
So I don't like anything bland. And that's my favorite food.
All right.
And wings.
Ooh, wings.
Anything. Can I just say, maybe not even just a region of the world. Anything that's spicy.
All right, follow up. What's your favorite hot sauce? This is an important question.
How about? Okay. See, I'm always overthinking.
This is important.
Is it hot sauce like the liquid one or like a paste?
The liquid one.
Because like if it was paste, I would say sriracha. But I don't count.
All right. Sriracha don't count.
That doesn't count.
Sriracha's fire, but come on.
So I'm saying that's a paste.
Like, this is important.
Either Louisiana or Texas Pete.
All right, Texas Pete's up there. All right. As long as you said Texas Pete, we're good.
I don't like Tabasco that much.
Tabasco just makes things hot. It's not good.
It has no flavor.
Come on, son. It's
all right.
Red hot. That's good. Everything else is good.
Fred's. Is it called Frank's?
Yeah.
That's okay.
I like the Goya joint too.
Which one?
The Goya, man.
Is that the Mexican one?
Yeah. Yes, the Spanish joint.
Which one is the green or the red?
It's the red one.
There's a green one too, right?
Yeah, it's 99 cents. Y'all know what's up.
Where is that? H-Mart?
You can get anywhere.
All right. So here's my question for you. Congratulations.
What did I get?
You're the first person ever to get an Ill Phil Award on a show.
Oh my gosh, it has my name on it.
Yes.
It says the Ill Phil Awards. This certifies that Chris Donald, A5A, has successfully completed the required criteria to be considered Philip Linwood Wilkerson's top 5 Alpha Chapter Vice President. Given this day, 16th of March 2020, signed Philip, Fairfax, Virginia, with a beautiful dinosaur sticker, purple, says spectacular on it. I am honored. Thank you for having me.
The hashtag is Ill Phil Awards. You look it up, you see a bunch of people get them.
Ill Phil
now,
Awards.
This is my question.
I'm geeked.
Now that you are a recipient of this award, now that you're a recipient of this award that is quite prestigious, you know, I've handed these out for quite some time. How do you feel? That's my question.
Man, this is. I think this is. I waited my whole life for this moment.
I know.
Ecstatic, you know. There is nothing. This is it.
There you go. You made it.
This is my peak.
Hang that up to your shingle. All right,
I'm gonna frame it.
Okay. Well, some people have.
I'm gonna sleep with it at night.
Let me frame it, y'all. All right. Second question, and this is a real question. So you already spoke about it before we go into our shout outs and plugs. You said PhD, which is dope. You know.
Yeah.
What would be your dream subject, and then you know, if it's like a thesis, let's say your mind's already working on what, you know, they usually say for a PhD, like what answer do you want to not solve, but what do you want to research? And that's kind of like answering questions, because you're going to do a lot of time, like you get bored, but you have to have that question in the back of your mind. What's something you always want to investigate that would be your focus of your PhD? You know, your dream PhD.
I am a communication major, concentrating in interpersonal and organizational communication.
Okay.
With a passion of intercultural communication. I'm also a Japanese studies minor, and have a mild proficiency in Spanish. So I like to say I'm kind of culturally ambiguous. So I want to apply that when it comes to like media effects and social media when it comes to culture. So one of the biggest questions I've been asking, or want to write either like an assertion or thesis about, is how does social media or more specific like Instagram and photo media like that influence perception of culture? How does it influence perception of how we interact with different cultures? You know, one of the biggest pressing issues on this is the spread of coronavirus. You know, like a lot of people, this stemmed a lot of racism. And it's kind of funny that you asked this question, and this is one of the examples that first came to my head. But this was one of the questions that was pressing in my mind before like COVID-19 came out.
Just perception of people via social media.
Come on, Rona. Yeah,
well, I mean, I ain't gonna lie though. The funniest thing about race-wise with coronavirus and social media is that you realize certain groups take it really seriously, and then black folks are like making jokes and which I ain't gonna lie, it makes me laugh, because the songs, I mean, we dealt with.
We joke about. We be laughing like, "Hi, it's funny," but
I mean,
it's not funny, bro.
It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like my man's like, "Yo, black people don't take nothing seriously,"
yeah, bro.
But at the same time, we do. It's like I think that I think socially, if you think about some sociology studies, like we've dealt with so much oppressive really bad stuff in our history that we could
What's a little Rona gonna do?
We could turn anything into a joke. There's real systemic bad things happening.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to make a joke out of this, whatever. I don't know. That's my thesis right there. My TED talk.
No, but
welcome to my TED talk. But
I really like how cultures interact, and that's one of the things.
It does.
Although we don't have an undergraduate kind of specification in intercultural, it definitely is one of my passions. And
the intercultural communication aspect of how they interact, for instance, of just different countries and ethnicities, how they interact with each other socially, and now maybe taking it to the next level, how we interact socially on a digital platform.
And this is that's exactly what it is. So, but it was more just the intercultural aspect is just more in general of the management of the different cultures, whether if that's ethnicity, race, or identity. I actually fell in love with this this discipline and came across it at Nova when I was at the community college. And one of my mentors who got me into the communication major, her name was Coach Ez. She made me fall in love with the subject. So, and that kind of leads into the mentor kind of talk, is that my whole idea of where I want to be today was stemmed off of someone's influence on me, on how they shaped me.
Yep.
So I look back and I'm like, oh, this one lady at a community college kind of shaped on my whole educational direction.
Or a coach that was an alpha. I mean, it's like I could do the same thing too. It's like these people, and dang, we took your question, but I think sometimes people that are just these people don't realize how much of an influence they have on you until you talk to them later. Like, hey, yo, I chose this because you. And you're like, what? I was just.
No, I have steppers coming back from me from like 4 years
ago.
They're like, Coach Chris, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I remember this one time when you did this for me. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember this moment.
No,
but thank you. It's that's the stuff that really hits you.
Yeah.
Or when an unexpected gift, and you're like, man, this is what it's about.
Well, this is a great episode. You're a recipient of the Ilfil Award.
Thank you.
I think I learned just as much from you as you learned from me. I don't know, whatever.
I love talking to you, man. It's always a pleasure.
So, the stage is yours. Shout-outs and plugs. Anyone that you want to show some love. And, that's the shout-outs. And then the plugs, anything where you want the listeners to follow up with you, what you're comfortable with. And I'll put that in the show notes so that whoever listens to this episode can follow up with you. So, stage is yours. Shout-outs and plugs.
All right, shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to the STEP teams, HHS STEP Team, HMS STEP Team. You can follow them simple like that on Twitter, Instagram. We also got IOTA Alpha 1906, BSA_GMU, and BLACC.GMU. These are all the orgs I'm a part of, man. You can also follow me on Twitter at CADonald1906, as well as on Instagram at C.A.Donald. Once again, my name is Chris Donald, but y'all can call me Coach Chris. And if you have any further questions on mentorship, on how you can grow, whether if that's in the educational field or how you can grow on campus, how you can grow your brand, and how you can build yourself from whether if that's nothing or from something, you let me know under the comment section below. Hey, don't forget to subscribe.
Hey, man.
Drop a like.
No, man. Are you a pro podcaster? You're killing it.
No, I'm trying to Yo, I should vlog. This would be perfect. All right.
We'll do it another time.
I came to an epiphany. I'm a vlogger now. What's up, y'all?
Hey, so we're going to have to do a follow-up episode because this dude already killed the game. You already knew about the subscribe, all that. Like, dang, man.
No, that's my man, Phil, man. If you don't know Phil, get on the positive filter.
Yes. That's crazy, man. You might have a job. Like a real job.
Put me on.
So,
a real
job. All right, so thank you so much, Chris, for having me. I'm going to definitely have all those things in the show notes. I'm definitely going to... I'm saying keep in touch. Like I'm not gonna see you. I don't know.
Don't touch me. I don't know if you got. I don't know what you got.
The Rona.
I don't know if you got the Rona.
But I'm definitely gonna have the listeners follow with you, and we're gonna definitely maybe do a recap some days in the future. Keep on doing all the amazing things you're doing in the community. I'm always proud. I randomly say that, and you're like, this dude is a sentimental drunk uncle, because I just be saying I'm proud. But I'm extremely proud of all the young men, especially you.
Thank you,
and everyone else, stay safe out there.
Please.
Check in on people, drink lots of water, wash your hands, and follow the positive filter. All right, we out. Thank you for listening to Positive Filter, a podcast that focuses on family, friends, career, with a little self-help along the way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends, and like the Facebook page, Spreading Positivity of Movement. Thanks for listening.